Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Leanne and today I'm going to be sharing with you another what's for dinner video. We're going to start off with a sheet pan meal and I'm going to be using a, I think it's a pork and beef kielbasa, sweet potatoes and broccoli with a honey garlic sauce. So let's get into the recipe. Okay, so I've got the oven preheating to 400 degrees and we're gonna get started with the sauce and then we'll assemble everything on the pan. So I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. The recipe called for unsalted, but I have salted, whatever. It didn't say to melt it, but I assumed it would be easier that way, so I mostly melted it. We're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3 cloves of garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and 1/2 teaspoon each of dried basil and oregano. And I will of course have this recipe linked in the description box below. And I'm not actually measuring, but I'm going to try to stick to that recipe approximately. I added just a little bit more brown sugar in here because, I don't know, because I wanted to. The recipe calls for 1 sweet potato and I think like 3 small regular potatoes, but I'm just going to use sweet potatoes because that's what I have. And this one's huge, so, and it's just the 2 of us, so I'm just going to do this big one and this less big one. All right, so we're going to toss the sweet potatoes and some olive oil on this lined cookie sheet and sprinkle that with salt. And then you're supposed to brush on the honey garlic sauce onto the kielbasa, and I just spooned a little bit and spread it out on top of them. You're gonna save 1 to 2 tablespoons of that sauce for later, and then bake that in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And while that's cooking or baking, I am cutting up the broccoli, and then after the first 20 minutes in the oven, we will add the broccoli and bake for another 5 to 10 minutes. Then I just took the pan out when it was all done and tossed everything, and then I added on the rest of that garlic sauce, that honey garlic sauce, and just mixed everything together. This dinner came out so good. I need to make sure I make it again. Sometimes recipes get lost in your pile of many recipes to choose from, but this one was so good. I definitely want to make this one again. So now I'm doing another sheet pan meal for you. This one is garlic ranch pork chops and potatoes. So I'm making up the little seasoning combination here. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil, about 1 packet's worth of ranch seasoning mix. I make my own, and I will have that in the description box for you if you're interested in making your own. About 3 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of dried parsley, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground oregano. And then I'm adding in a little bit more olive oil until I get the consistency that I thought would be good for kind of coating everything. The recipe also calls for black pepper, but if you're new here, I don't ever cook with black pepper because I don't like it. And now I'm just cutting up some red potatoes and just try to cut them somewhat evenly so that they will cook evenly on the sheet pan. I think it's kind of impossible to get them cut evenly, but I try. And then I had some Brussels sprouts left over from a previous meal, and I don't care for them, but my husband does. So I'm not doing a ton of them, but I'm just doing some for my husband. And then I wanted to coat everything separately because I don't like Brussels sprouts. So I kind of divided up that little mixture that I had made, and I'm adding in my potatoes and a little bit more olive oil, again, just because I thought it'd be easier to coat them. And then we're gonna put them on a greased baking dish. And then now I'm doing the same thing for the Brussels sprouts. Again, just adding a little bit more olive oil. Once you have them coated in the baking dish, I did decide to just salt them a little bit as well. But then you're gonna just put that in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And while that is baking, you're going to put the pork chops in with the rest of that seasoning and just coat them really well and let it marinate and soak it all up while the potatoes, and for me the Brussels sprouts as well, were cooking. And then once you've got 20 minutes in the oven, you're going to stir the potatoes and then move them to either side of the sheet pan and place the pork chops down the middle and put them back in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes until the pork is the proper temperature. I have boneless pork chops, so they do not take very long. And then I also just steamed up some green beans for the side as well, and decided to just doctor them up a little bit. So when they were done, drained them, added in some butter and some minced garlic, and then some more of that homemade ranch seasoning. I guess I could have done these in the sheet pan too. I don't know if I just didn't think about it till after or what, but this worked just fine. And of course a little bit of salt, and those were all done very simple. And this dinner, man, this was another one that was really good. I'm really digging the sheet pan meals because they all just seem to be so flavorful. And yeah, we really liked this one a lot.
Well guys, for tonight for dinner we're having salads. I guess they're kind of chef salads. We've got lettuce, cucumber, tomato, carrots, and then I've got some ham, some hard-boiled eggs, some almonds, and my homemade ranch. And Jesse's got, there's a little bit of black beans and corn in the fridge with some ham and salami, pickles, and did you have avocado?
Brown beans, avocado.
Avocado, onions. So, yep, this is what's for dinner tonight. So for tonight's dinner, I'm gonna be making, I don't know, a sausage quinoa skillet meal. That's what we're gonna call it. I'm not following a recipe. I had quinoa left over from another meal. Actually, we had, I don't know, a couple nights ago, we had leftover pork chops, but no sides. So I made quinoa and I think we had salads to go with the leftover pork chops, but I made too much quinoa, so now I've got leftover quinoa. So I had purchased these, I think from Aldi, these turkey cheddar sausages. So I'm gonna slice them up, fry them in a pan with some onion and garlic. We'll throw in the quinoa, maybe some seasonings, and I'm thinking maybe green beans. Let's see how it goes. So I've got my pan heating up over a little below medium heat. I'm just gonna put in some avocado oil. I am new to trying this avocado oil. I actually purchased 2 of these at 2 different times at 2 different locations because I forgot that I'd already purchased it. So I'll be using it for a while. Hopefully I like it. So now we're just gonna put in, I just put a little bit of onion. I don't really like onion a ton in these kinds of dishes. When I use onion, it's gotta be cooked very well. For my preference, I'm gonna saute it till it's, I'm actually gonna turn this heat down because my husband's not home yet and I don't want it to cook too fast. I'm gonna saute it till it's nice and translucent just because that's my preference. My husband would be fine if it was cooked less. And then once it's getting there, I will add in some minced garlic for a minute or 2 and then add in the sausage and green beans. So while the onions are sauteing, I'm gonna slice up some of these sausages. I think I'm just gonna do 3 of them because, I don't know, I think that's all we need. It's just my husband and I, and that'll leave 3 more for another meal. Don't have any measurements, we're just gonna add in some garlic. That's a lot. Ooh, this pan got hot, even though it's only on low.
So I just added in the sliced sausage, and then I'm adding in some frozen green beans. The pan had got pretty hot, so I just added in a little bit of water just to kind of cool it down and knowing that the water would just kind of cook off, and that did the trick. So then I added in a little bit more green beans, and we are just going to cook that through.
All right, I got it to cool down a little bit, which is good because it was cooking a little too fast. So I'm just gonna let these cook for a little bit. The sausages get a little bit brown, and I think the green beans will just kind of saute in here. I think I'm gonna add in a little bit of butter, but once this is all cooked, because my quinoa is already done, I'm just going to add it in, but I already have it out of the fridge so that it's, you know, not gonna be really, really cold when I throw it in there. Got about a tablespoon of butter, add some salt, mainly because of the green beans. All right, so now this looks like hardly anything. I walked away, had it on low, and I actually don't mind the black pieces here. That's actually what I like, but unfortunately, burnt the bottom of my pan. So I tossed it all into here, so it's gonna look like a very small amount for the pot. I've got some quinoa, it just needs to be heated up. It's got a little bit of butter and some salt in it. And I think I'm just gonna add in some garlic powder and onion powder, even though there is garlic and onion in there. All right, I turned off the heat. I've got just a little bit of, you can see that shredded cheddar cheese that was just in the fridge, left over, I don't know, from some time. And I've got some grated Parmesan cheese that I'm just gonna add in too because I like cheese. All right, we're gonna pull this completely from the burner so we don't have a mistake number 2. All right, and here it is, all finished, and I'll let you know on the screen, I guess, if we liked it. Well guys, I am editing this video and realizing there's not an ending or an outro to this video at all, so I just thought I'd hop on real quick and say, hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you have not already subscribed, hit that red subscribe button below so you don't miss out on my future videos. It also helps if you hit the notification bell next to it, just because it's like subscribing isn't always enough for YouTube. Not really sure why. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video with some great recipes. Those sheet pan meals were so good. And that last one with the quinoa was a really, really good dinner. And I was using a lot of things that just needed to be used up in my fridge. So I love when that happens and it actually like works and stuff. So anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you in my next video.